In the entire history of China, only one woman ever sat on the dragon throne. Her rise was not gentle. It came with an iron fist, divine ambition, and absolute fear. She rose from an ordinary concubine to a self-proclaimed god-emperor. She was a wise monster. There is no innocence in this story. People drowned inside wine barrels. A harem of men served her desires. And on her tombstone, nothing is written. Her final words were said to be, "Do not describe me. Let history judge." She was the most powerful woman who ever lived, Wu Zetian. Wu Zetian was born in 624, the daughter of a wealthy timber merchant. Her mother was Lady Yang, her father Wu Shi. In those years, girls were raised for only one purpose, to become good wives. But her father defied every rule of his era. He taught Wu Zetian how to read and write, to study history and politics, to understand statecraft, even to ride horses and wield a sword. At the age of 14, a selection was held to choose new concubines from elite families for the emperor. Her name was on the list. She entered the palace, knowing she would never return to her city, and would never see her family again. As her mother wept, Wu Zetian said calmly, "Mother, wipe your tears. This is not a funeral. This is a beginning." If one were asked where both the greatest beauty and the greatest fear in the world coexist, the answer would be clear: the Chinese imperial palace. Within its golden corridors, a concubine had only three choices: remain silent and be forgotten, fight and become the emperor's wife, or die trying. Wu Zetian had already made her choice. She would rule all of China. The reigning emperor, Taizong, heard of a beautiful young woman in the palace who could read and write. He summoned her. He was immediately struck by her intelligence. Wu Zetian took her first step. She became a fifth-rank concubine, not a sexual partner, but a palace secretary. She dressed the emperor, managed documents, oversaw the library, and handled correspondence. From the closest seat imaginable, she observed how an empire was ruled. And she learned quickly. Only 1 year after her arrival, disaster struck. The emperor was resting in the Palace of Nine Perfections. As usual, he intended to walk in the courtyard, but strong winds forced him to stay inside. At that exact moment, the palace shook with a terrifying roar. More than 40 Turkic warriors stormed the palace, led by Prince Jia of the Ashina clan. Their goal was simple: assassinate the Chinese emperor and reclaim independence. The corridors turned into slaughterhouses. Hundreds of Chinese soldiers were killed. But fate intervened. Because of the wind, the emperor had never entered the courtyard. Wu Zetian was there. She witnessed everything. When the attackers realized their mission had failed, they stole horses and fled. They were cornered by a massive Chinese army at the Wei River, where every last one of them died fighting with honor. Today, this event is known as the Khershad Revolt. That day, Wu Zetian understood something crucial. The Turks were her greatest enemy. And if she were to rule China, she would have to become a true dragon, a monster. She was right. For the rest of her life, the Turks would be the only force that truly humbled her. Soon after, the emperor fell ill with dysentery and died, with Wu Zetian at his side. By tradition, all imperial concubines were stripped of worldly life. Their heads were shaved, and they were confined to Buddhist temples as nuns. Wu Zetian shared this fate. But forbidden love intervened. She had long maintained a secret relationship with the dead emperor's son, the new emperor, Gaozong. Young, handsome, and gentle, Gaozong was nothing like his father. From the monastery, Wu Zetian sent him a poem. "My longing for you has faded my face, weakened my body. If you do not believe that I cry endlessly, open my chest and look upon the pomegranate flowers stained by my tears." According to the sources, Gaozong came to the temple. They wept together, hand in hand. Through intrigue and manipulation, Wu Zetian was removed from the monastery and returned to the palace as a concubine. But there was a problem. Gaozong already had a wife, Empress Wang. Noble, virtuous, but ambitious, and childless. She allowed Wu Zetian into the palace. Soon, Wu Zetian bore a daughter. And this is where the true horror begins. Empress Wang came to visit the baby. She held her, played with her, then returned to her quarters. Servants witnessed the visit. According to historical accounts, the moment the empress left, Wu Zetian approached the cradle and smothered her own infant daughter with a blanket. When the child was found dead, Wu Zetian collapsed in grief, accusing Empress Wang of jealousy and witchcraft. Gaozong believed her. Empress Wang and another rival concubine were sentenced. They were beaten with 100 lashes. Their arms and legs were severed. To prolong their suffering, they were sealed into wine barrels so their wounds would not infect quickly. Watching them die, Wu Zetian said coldly, "Let their bones drown in drunkenness." Before her death, one concubine whispered, "May Wu Zetian be reborn as a mouse, and I as a cat. I will hunt her forever." From that day forward, cats were forbidden in the palace. Executions spread like wildfire. Fathers, brothers, male relatives were slaughtered. Women were enslaved. Even the emperor's uncle was forced to commit suicide. After rivers of blood, Wu Zetian became heavenly empress. But she wanted more. Gaozong allowed it because he was weak, emotional, indecisive, raised as a spare son. Wu Zetian ruled from behind the curtain. She was the true power. Yet she was not only cruel. She despised aristocrats and introduced merit-based civil service exams. Even a farmer's son could rise to the highest office. She strengthened bureaucracy for centuries. Promoted women poets and advisors. Reduced taxes. Distributed agricultural manuals. Strengthened silk production. The people loved her. The nobles feared her. Her punishments were unimaginable. Entire bloodlines erased. Silk cords sent as polite invitations to suicide. In 683, Gaozong died. Wu Zetian murdered or forced the suicide of her own sons to eliminate threats. In 690, she did the unthinkable. She did not become empress. She declared herself emperor, a woman wearing the yellow dragon robe. She ruled through Buddhism, prophecy, spies, terror, and brilliance. In 705, at age 81, haunted by ghosts of her victims, Wu Zetian died. She ordered her tombstone left blank. Her message was clear: "My deeds are too great for words. Let history judge me." She was buried in silence. The Dragon Queen had fallen. The sources for this documentary are now displayed on your screen. You can find the full list and links in the description.